Today,
we will be reacting to 9/11.
and rest in peace to all the people who died.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Except the terrorists.
yeah, we don't care about the terrorists. Anyways, let's get into the video.
Good morning, America. It's Tuesday, September 11th. Looks like Hurricane Erin loomed off the coast to the east, so it may very well be the case that we're...
Dang.
Dang, it's like it's a normal day.
They had a whole freaking hurricane miss them, and they...
We're going to have a beautiful day out here in New York.
Oh, God, bruh.
You just psychologically...
Jinx that.
Yeah.
City. All right, now let's start with some news.
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Beautiful day out here in
It's
New
the
York
new
City.
Trade Center.
All right.
That's it, that's the World Trade Center, not the old one, cuh. Oh, nah, they suck.
Now let's start with some news. Yesterday's New York Giants versus Denver.
This is already getting bad.
Is this disturbing?
On September 11th, 2001, nearly 3,000 people became victims of the most devastating series of terrorist attacks executed on American soil. In this episode, you'll learn why the 9/11 attacks took place, how they were planned and executed, and how the world changed after 9/11.
Dang, this is gonna
Let's
be...
start with the why. Here's the story. In 1979, the Soviets invaded Afghanistan to support the recently instilled pro-Soviet government in their war against various Islamist rebel groups backed up by the US, UK, Saudi Arabia, and other countries. They did not want the communists to win. Among those who also did not want communists to win was the young son of a Saudi Arabian businessman, Osama bin Laden.
Oh my God.
He saw
not
the
this
Soviet...
So you're telling me that he was a part of the American, like, something war? Like, he was on America's team, and he literally,
Attack America? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
yeah, like, bruh.
invasion as a direct threat to the Islamic world. Bin Laden joined the rebels in 1979 and moved to Pakistan,
Dang, he
Like
got
the
it.
where
Taliban?
he and his allies were funneling arms, money,
I know.
and fighters
He's
to
pretty ugly,
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
The key takeaway is that the U.S. and Osama bin Laden were on the same side.
That's what I'm saying, like, bruh,
Yeah,
they're on the
yeah.
same side, bruh.
The conflict lasted for 10 years. And in 1989, when the Soviets finally abandoned Afghanistan empty-handed, Osama returned to Saudi Arabia as a hero. But he quickly gained the reputation of a radical opponent of the Saudi Arabian government, and especially their foreign and defense policy. What was Osama concerned with? For starters, he was unhappy that during the Gulf War, the Saudi Arabian government chose to rely on the U.S. for all things defense, rather than on its
because the US
domestic
is better.
force.
Yeah, the U.S. is richer, better,
It
has
has-
more power,
Yeah.
and has Donald Trump.
I mean, he wasn't in this time.
Oh, yeah, Donald Trump is that.
More on that later. But perhaps Osama's biggest concern was that after the Gulf War in 1991, the U.S. kept operating in the region, playing an
Dang.
active role in the daily agenda of the Islamic world.
I mean,
Even the U.S.
it is what it
bases
is.
across Saudi Arabia were there to stay. Osama
Oh,
felt
so they had bases across Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
the Saudi government
I'm back
was
here if you
undermining
didn't know.
Islam, thus putting the Islamic world at risk by bringing capitalists to their front door. The beef between bin Laden and the Saudi government got so intense at one point in the 1990s that Osama was exiled from his country, lost his
Oh my,
He's a bad boy.
I know, right?
citizenship and moved, first to Sudan and then to Afghanistan. By then, bin Laden had already established Al-Qaeda, an organization that declared the holy war against the U.S.
Oh, this is bad.
9/11 was
Wait, it's a
nothing but
holy
an echo
war.
of the war that had been going on for nearly a decade. Now, let's talk about how the attacks were planned and
Oh,
executed.
here we go.
By 1996, 5 years
That's not
before the attacks, Al-Qaeda already had a clear vision of how the events would unfold on 9/11. They wanted to demolish U.S. power and economic prosperity symbols, such as the U.S. Capitol building, the Pentagon, and the World Trade Center.
Oh, they were trying to go for the U.S. Capitol building, but the passengers were able to crash the plane before it could get there.
After considering
Into a
many
field.
options, they eventually decided to use kamikaze-style airplane attacks. The airplanes.
If you didn't know, kamikaze pilots in World War II, they would crash their planes. They would not eject, they'd be in the plane while they crashed into enemy ships. That's what kamikaze were.
Yeah.
Actually, the
So
large
it's like
commercial
deadly.
ones
So they would
carry
kill themselves
tons
for
and
their
tons
army.
of jet fuel on board, and thus can be used as jet fuel-filled missiles to cause devastating damage. Needless to say, it took Al Qaeda years to prepare for the attack, 5 years to be precise. They took their time to select each candidate for this operation, trained 4
Imagine being one of the candidates.
They probably signed up or something.
pilots
I
to
know,
fly
right?
commercial airplanes, and taught 15 muscle hijackers how to neutralize flight attendants, pilots, and uncooperative passengers and take control of the plane. On the morning of September 11th, 2001, all 4 groups of terrorists successfully took control of 4 airplanes shortly after takeoff. You know what happened next?
Yep, I do.
2 Boeing 767s crashed into the World Trade Center Twin Towers in New York City. 1 Boeing 757 crashed into the Pentagon headquarters in Virginia. Another 757 never reached its target. Apparently, the flight passengers retaliated and almost forced the hijackers to nosedive the plane miles away
Yeah,
from
that's
the
what
U.S.
happened. That's
Capitol
why it
building in Washington,
crash
D.C.
there.
Now, let's talk about
What happened to the? What? Wait, there wasn't there 4 planes and only they talk about 3.
Because the 4th one crashed into a field. Because
how the terrorists
they
were able to
forced it down.
hijack the airplanes. The pre-flight security checks and in-air security procedures of the early 2000s were nowhere near today's standards.
Yeah, that's
Before
the problem.
9/11, one could take a knife up to 4 inches on board the plane.
That's just bad.
Dang.
Like, bruh.
No questions asked. The only security measure in place was a super basic metal detector, which was
Bro, we gotta up our things.
Yeah.
Like, bruh, that you can. So imagine you're just walking down the hallway of like an airport or something, and you have a 4-inch knife in your pocket.
only decent at detecting large metal items. Al Qaeda exploited those holes in U.S. airline security as the hijackers carried small knives and box cutters through security and used them to assault the crew.
Dang.
The in-flight security procedures before the 9/11 attacks were also cumbersome. For example, flight attendants used to have keys that would open the cockpit doors. That's exactly how the hijackers accessed the cockpit. They forced the flight attendants to open the cockpit doors or threatened to blow up the aircraft and had the pilots themselves open the doors. After 9/11, the keys to cockpit doors were eliminated, doors toughened, and in-flight security rules changed so that pilots do not open the cockpit doors no matter what. Today, the cockpit doors will remain shut even if a bloodbath unfolds in the cabin. Also,
Dang.
the reinforced post-9/11 cockpit doors can withstand gunfire and even grenade explosions.
Really?
Millions of people remember what they did and where they were on September 11th, 2001.
I remember where I was. I was in heaven in my mama's stomach, huh?
Happened at the very beginning of the 20th century is yet another reminder of how fragile our world is and how easily a perfect day can turn into the most horrific premeditated tragedy.
Okay, I'm done with this.
This guy made it so depressing. Yo, hold up. Wait a minute.
Something ain't right.
We're gonna watch another video. Just another short video.
Just a short.
We're just gonna
It's
fly
2024,
through this video.
and you still don't have Frontier Fiber?
Shut up.
Switch now for just
Join
$29.99.
Frontier.
The 9/11 terrorist attack. The huge impact force of the airplane did not cause the Twin Towers to have a tilted fall like this. Instead, the towers stood strong for more than an hour. However, to the world's surprise, the towers collapsed like a house of cards. A
Dang.
vertical fall. The main reason for this strange collapse was the tower's structural design, the perimeter tube design. The concrete floors of the world, each sagging
Bye.